Whack on to Close Up. That's the National Animal Welfare Advisory Committee. They formulated today's new rules on cages. They too declined to appear. Tonight, that leaves us with Hans Kriek of SAFE, the animal rights group, and Graham Carey, a free-range farmer. Good evening to you both.
Hi, good evening.
Mr. Kriek, if I can start with you. The egg producers make the point that the 800 million or so eggs that are produced in this country are a low-cost source of protein and nutrition that the current system is delivering to the people the food they want for the price they want.
Well, they're certainly low cost, and they're low cost because of the cruel system that is being used. If a more humane system is used, the eggs will be more expensive, but it is simply the price that New Zealanders are going to have to pay for a decently produced egg. If we don't want to tolerate this type of animal cruelty, then we're going to have to pay more for eggs.
What are we looking at here? Explain the cages we're looking at.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking at a standard New Zealand battery cage. So this is the 450 square centimeters per bird. What you see, these birds were rescued from the farm yesterday, and they're looking pretty tatty. All the feathers have worn off because of rubbing against the wire of the cage. They've been pecking each other. All these birds will suffer from osteoporosis because of the lack of exercise. This is how they have lived for over 1 year. Now, when they get their new cages, which is an absolute joke when the minister talks about larger cages, because it will add a few centimeters to this cage, that makes no difference for these birds. They still can't lay their egg in a nest box, they still can't dust bathe, they still can't peck and scratch as they normally would do, and it will still look like this. So there is no improvement as far as we are concerned, and it's completely out of step what is happening in Europe, where Europe has, based on science, has decided to phase out battery cages by 2012.
That is incorrect according to the egg producers. I've been reading what they see today. They see there are a handful of countries that have gone that way, and they are now net importers, those countries, of battery-produced eggs, because they simply can't produce enough to meet the demand.
No. Just totally wrong.
Tell me the countries that have. Hang on. Tell me the countries that have banned it then.
The European Parliament has decided that by 2012 all battery cages have to go. At the moment you have Sweden and Switzerland that have already banned battery cages, and Austria and Germany that are moving faster than Europe and will be banning them by 2008 and 2010.
Import eggs from countries that use, create them in batteries with battery hens?
What the egg producers are referring to is Switzerland. Switzerland has always imported battery eggs because they have a very small poultry industry themselves. Before they phased out battery cages, they were importing 60% of eggs from abroad. They are still importing about 50% of eggs from abroad, and they are battery eggs.
Which to some extent makes a bit of a nonsense of it. Let me get a farmer in here anyway, Graham Carey. I know you're going to tell me your eggs are better, but why? They're more expensive. They're twice to three times the price.
Yes, that's still cheap though, really. When you put it alongside another product, an egg is a cheap thing to eat. So maybe if you're going to pay 20 or 30 cents more for an egg, it's well worth it. Interesting,
though, the majority of New Zealanders are still buying battery eggs.
The majority of New Zealanders don't really know what's going on out there in cages yet. They haven't thought about it too much. There's a great deal of New Zealanders that do care about hens, and we've proven it. We started our business in 1989.
Yep.
And 15 years later, we have tens of thousands of New Zealanders buying Friends eggs. If we go to Los Angeles, we have thousands of people up there buying them. And now you can go to Hong Kong and buy them.
What are you paying in the US for them? Or what are you getting in the US for them?
Well, you can get a good deal down in Redondo Beach for about $5.20 US, and if you're going further in country to Namada, you might get them for $6, but that's a good deal.
So you're getting a lot more for your eggs selling them offshore than you are selling them onshore?
Oh, we are. But it's still a very low price when you consider you're giving the bird its freedom, because as Hans said, you lock the bird up, and the bird is paying for all this, not the consumer.
I mean, with the greatest respect to these things, do we care? We chop their heads off and eat them all the time. There's going to be turkeys and chicken all over the plates around the country for Christmas. I mean, chicken's a hugely consumed food.
We do care. New Zealanders care. If you look, why don't we lock up all our horses? Why don't we lock up all our cows? Why do we lock our pets? We care about animals. Why do we lock chickens up? No one can actually explain that to me, because I hear they're cheaper, but really, I mean, you buy half a dozen eggs for $4 or something. It's still not a lot of money.
Well, when you're talking 880 million eggs in the country, it becomes a lot of money, doesn't it?
It's not.
And I guess if I can bring it back to you, Hans Kriek, I mean, the industry or the egg producers say, look, you just can't dismantle a huge industry. This is a big industry. You can't do it overnight. You can't just say, right, we're going to throw out that system and bring in a new one.
course, well, we never asked for overnight. We asked for a phase-out period in line with Europe, which could have been introduced much earlier ago. But let me make one point clear, which is really important. The Minister and the National Animal Welfare Advisory Committee have found that battery cages are in breach of New Zealand animal welfare legislation. They do not meet the requirements of the Act. Now, are we saying that an illegal practice is allowed to continue because it's more convenient not to do anything? I mean, is the minister advocating that, oh yeah, people could have the choice, whatever they want to buy, they can, when it's illegally produced?
I don't have him on to ask tonight, but the last question I want to put to you, Graham, and Spick, who's one of our Wellington guys, now I really like this, he says that he's got chooks, and if they're not happy, they won't lay, so he wants to know why battery hens keep laying.
Well, a hen is born to lay eggs. So and it will do that if you give the hen nutrition and you put it in a situation, it will lay eggs. It won't necessarily be happy, but it will lay eggs. That's what its mission in life is, to lay eggs.
Hens know happiness,
and our mission in life is to have happy hens laying eggs.
Which the question is, do hens know happiness? Do you reckon they...
They sure do. You looked at those hens there flapping their wings and wandering around in the paddock. They looked a lot happier than the other ones.
Graham Carey, thank you for your time tonight. Hans Kriek, thank you also.